Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on our digital world. We're going to break down exactly what it takes to become a Microsoft Azure administrator, and we'll demystify the one certification that really matters for that role, the AZ-104. So think about it for a second. When you stream a movie, save a file to the cloud, or jump into an online game, what's actually making all that happen? Well, 9 times out of 10, the answer is the cloud. It's this massive, invisible infrastructure that powers pretty much our entire lives. But it wasn't always this easy. Not that long ago, if a company wanted to launch, say, a big website, they had to do it the old way. And that meant buying literal stacks of physical servers, finding a room for them, keeping that room ice cold, securing it. I mean, it was a massive headache, super expensive, and really slow to get going. But now we have the new way, the cloud. Companies can just tap into a global network of data centers that are all managed by pros like Microsoft. And that leads us right to Microsoft Azure. The easiest way to think about it is like a gigantic worldwide computer that anyone can run a piece of. It's one of the biggest cloud platforms on the planet, offering hundreds of different services that let companies do, well, everything, from hosting a simple blog to running super complex AI, all without ever touching a physical server. So what does this global computer actually look like? I mean, it's not just one giant building with a blinking light on top. No way. It's a really smart, strategically designed network of facilities, and it's organized with a few key building blocks you need to know about. The very first concept you gotta wrap your head around is the region. An Azure region is just a specific area on the map, like East US or West Europe, that's packed with a bunch of data centers. And choosing the right region is absolutely crucial because you want to get your apps and your data as close to your users as possible. Closer means faster. And this is where Azure gets really, really clever about being reliable. See, within a single one of those regions, you have what are called availability zones. Think of them as completely separate, isolated data centers. They each have their own power, their own cooling, their own network. So if something bad happens in one of them, like a power outage, your apps don't even blink. They just keep running in another zone. That's the secret sauce to the cloud's famous high availability. Okay, so we've got this massive global web of regions and zones. It sounds kind of complicated, right? So how on earth does anyone actually control their little slice of it? Well, that's where the Azure Resource Manager comes into play. It's basically the central nervous system for everything you do in Azure, and it all starts with one simple idea: staying organized. This right here is one of the first things any new administrator learns. You see, with the Resource Manager, you don't just toss your services into the cloud willy-nilly. No, you organize them into these logical containers called resource groups. Seriously, just think of them like folders on your computer. All the different parts for one application, the database, the web server, the networking stuff, they all get grouped together. That makes them super easy to manage, monitor, or even delete all at once. It's absolutely fundamental. All right, so we've covered the what, the infrastructure, the nuts and bolts. Now let's switch gears and talk about the who. Who is the professional that actually puts all these pieces together and keeps the whole system humming along? To put it simply, the Azure Administrator is the person in charge of a company's entire cloud world on Azure. They're the ones who build it, they're the ones who watch it, and they're the ones who fix it. They are, without a doubt, one of the most critical roles in any modern company that relies on the cloud. And it is a huge job. An admin's responsibilities cover everything from setting up who can log in and what they can do, to spinning up virtual machines, managing all the data storage, and locking down the entire network to keep it secure. And on top of all that, they're keeping a super close eye on performance and, this is a big one, cost, making sure the company isn't wasting money. It's a role that touches, well, pretty much everything. Now, to handle all of those different jobs, an administrator needs a really powerful toolkit. And Azure provides a few different ways to interact with the whole platform, with each tool being perfect for different kinds of tasks. So here are the big three. First, you've got the Azure portal. It's a website, a graphical interface that's awesome for seeing what you've got and for doing one-off tasks. But here's the thing. A great admin hates repetitive clicking. And that's where the command line tools, the Azure CLI and PowerShell, come in. These are absolutely essential for writing scripts and automating tasks so you can manage hundreds or even thousands of resources at once. So let's recap. We've talked about what Azure is, what an administrator actually does, and the tools they use to do their job. So the big question is, how do you prove to the world that you actually have these skills? Well, that's where the certification comes in.
The industry standard gold-plated validation for this role is the AZ-104 exam. When you pass this, you officially become a Microsoft Certified Azure Administrator Associate, and that's a huge signal to any employer that you have the core skills they need to manage their Azure environment.
Now, if you're wondering what's actually on the test, just take a look at this chart. Does it seem familiar? It should, because it covers all those core responsibilities we just talked about: managing user identities, configuring storage and virtual machines, setting up networks, and monitoring the whole shebang. The key takeaway here is that the certification is designed to test your real-world, hands-on skills.
This quote really just gets to the heart of it all. Preparing for the AZ-104 isn't just about cramming to pass a test. It's about gaining a deep, practical, and powerful understanding of how to build and manage modern IT infrastructure. And believe me, those are skills that are incredibly valuable in the world today. The cloud isn't just a piece of technology anymore. It's the foundation of how almost all modern applications are built and delivered to us. That makes the role of the administrator more critical than ever before. The path to getting there through the AZ-104 is all laid out. So the only question left is, are you ready to be one of the people who builds the future?